Where do you want to go next, Dan? Let's
Let's talk Oregon, Utah. Let's talk the stream game, just because between two ranked opponents and I think meaningful. Yes.
Yeah, well, yeah, I think so. Yeah, it was the leader in our respective clubhouse here when you and I, in the build up to week 9, were trying to figure out, hey, what game should we live stream? What game do people want us to live stream?
Yeah.
And this is the one. It was a 6.5 point spread. I spent the first 20 minutes of the live stream trying to get our tech to work. And that's notable only because by the time I looked up, it was like 21-3.
21-6, yeah, somewhere in there, yeah.
Oregon. And it just felt like they just took it to them right away. Like, this was not a close game, Dan. They just destroyed them pretty much in every facet, with the exception of penalties. The only thing I could find where Oregon didn't beat Utah was penalties. And technically, in that sense, yes, they did beat them, although that's not a good thing. But Oregon wins by 29, 35-6. It could have been 109, Dan. I'm sure you have more detailed thoughts, being the Oregon aficionado that you are. I was just really struck by how big a gap it seemed there was between these two teams. You know, like, we spent a good amount of time the last few months power ranking the Pac-12, because we have maintained since the very beginning of the season that this is one of, if not the best conferences in college football. And we got some clarity when Washington beat Oregon as to the pecking order on that front. And I think we got a little bit more clarity, if not last week, but certainly this week, with what's going on with USC. But Utah knocked off USC a week ago. It really feels like Washington and Oregon are way up here. And the other teams in the conference, I guess Utah would be next among them.
No, I'd have Oregon State. Oregon State beat Utah 21-7, yeah.
Either way, right? Like, whoever is next in your pecking order, our Verballer top 12 had Utah above Oregon State.
Yeah.
Whoever your team is that you would pick to be third in the conference, it's a really big gap between probably Oregon and them. And that was apparent in this game.
Okay, so this game specifically, Oregon's a way better college football team than Utah. And the spread indicated that there was confidence that that would be true with that kind of line and with how infrequently Utah loses at home in Salt Lake City. This was right from the jump. Oregon ran the ball. They threw the ball downfield. Bo Nix was checking boxes that I think a lot of Oregon fans were anxious or eager to see him check. That's throwing down the middle of the field. That's using his legs on 3rd and 3. Just get a first down. Use your legs. Just keep the drive going. Let's not overthink this. Let's just get to the chains and live to see another 1st and 10. He went downfield nicely. There was a bad drop, but whatever the case, he was really, really good. He looks like he started 55 college football games at quarterback. Bucky Irving, very good. The tight end, Terrence Ferguson, very good. You're right about the penalties. Some of that came on offensive line, false starts, and just not understanding cadence and being on the road once again. Story here for Oregon is still, to me, the offense, even though the defense was great. I just had fewer questions about the defense coming in, and I think we've all seen some of the lowlights of the Utah offense. They did the one thing that you have to do to beat Utah, and you have to tackle on the edge as Utah tries to run the ball, and they forced Bryson Barnes into obvious passing situations, and Utah's not going to beat good teams if Bryson Barnes has to complete passes on 3rd and 8. Doesn't mean he's a bad quarterback, doesn't mean it's a bad story. This is just a different level than USC's defense. It's a different level than Cal's defense. Luckily, we get to talk about those two teams playing each other, and it went exactly how you think it went.
50-49, yeah.
50-49. Oregon is set up really nicely. I actually, look, it could be proven wrong if they play in Vegas in a rematch. I think Oregon's better than Washington. Washington struggled with Stanford. Washington struggled with Arizona State. Maybe Oregon just broke Washington in a losing effort. I don't know what's going on with the Huskies right now. They're a very good team. As for the Pac-12 tiers or whatever, I think that's right. I think Oregon and Washington are ahead above, and then there's just like a mass of Utah and UCLA and Oregon State and who knows who else. Maybe that's it. So really nice. I think Oregon's playing like one of the best 3 teams in the country right now.
Yeah, I mean, we're going to get playoff rankings, I believe, this coming week.
Mm-hmm.
And the first batch of playoff rankings, none of them really mean anything, but especially the first batch means basically next to nothing.
Right.
You have to put 2 Pac-12 teams in that conversation. You have to put Oregon and Washington in that conversation. You just have to. They played basically to a draw. Oregon's got a loss, but you saw what Oregon did against a very good Utah team.
Yeah.
And we've talked so much over the years about how the Pac-12 cannibalizes itself. It very much does the Big 12 thing where they all beat each other. Even if that happens this year, you got to put a Pac-12 team in.
Yeah.
You got to put Oregon or Washington in because, at least in my view,
a 12-1 champion. Yeah.
Got to put them in.
Yeah.
Got to put them in.